Welcome back everyone to the part 4 of the Social Clone project. We're going to finish up the accounts application, that means our login, logout, and sign up capabilities, by setting up the login and logout URLs in our settings.py file, creating 2 more templates for that, and then we'll also set up the migration. So we're going to continue with the accounts application right where we left off from the previous lecture. Okay, here I am at Atom Text Editor. Remember in the previous lecture we finished off creating our base.html file. What we need to do is set up the login redirect URL and logout redirect URL that the login and logout views are going to call. And we're going to need to do that within our settings.py file. So go to Simple Social, settings.py, and then these usually go all the way at the bottom. So scroll all the way down and we're going to set up 2 variables. So you're going to say login underscore redirect underscore URL. So this is the login redirect, and we'll have this redirect to a test page. And then we will have our logout underscore redirect underscore URL, and I'm going to have that be equal to a thanks page. So we'll save that. And now that we've said test and thanks, let's actually create those templates. So we're going to create those templates inside of our top level templates in the same directory where base.html and index.html are. So we'll say new file, and I'm going to call this file test.html, and I'll create one more file under templates, new file, and I will say thanks.html. And let's set those up. So the test, I'm just going to test this. Basically, we're going to say extends from base.html. We're going to say block the content block and put this inside of actually we don't need a container. We just need to say h1, you are now logged in, exclamation point. And then we'll just have that be it. So we'll save that. That's essentially going to be our test page to see if logging in worked. Once we log in, it should take us to this page. You are now logged in. And then in our thanks.html pile, this is going to be the logout. So we'll say extends base.html. I will call the content block here. And then we'll say h1, thanks for visiting, come back soon. That's kind of the typical logout thing you usually see in a website. So if you log out of Facebook, you usually see, oh, thank you for visiting, come back soon, etc. So that's our login and logout. So login view from Django 1.11 is essentially going to look for those variables, which are then going to connect to these HTML files. So now that we created those HTML files, what we need to do is actually set them up with the views.py and urls.py of our Simple Social app. So in the Simple Social project, come over to views.py. Right now we just have our home page view. I'm going to add in the test page and the thanks page. I will say class, test page, and I'm going to, again, use template view here, and then just set my template name equal to test.html. And I'll set one more for the actual thanks page. So we'll say thanks page, and this is going to be a template view. And this will say template name is equal to thanks.html. Perfect. Now I'm going to save that, and since we have these in our views, we're going to connect these to our urls.py. So let's do that. Come over to urls.py. This is our project urls.py file, and we will say URL, and whoops, URL. And then we're going to use regular expressions here. We will say something like caret. And let's actually make sure we have that in our accounts as well. That should always be there. So our caret accounts, and then caret, this will be for the test page, /, and then I can put a $sign in there just to continue in case we want to build off test. I will say views dot test page dot as view. So we'll call it as a view, and then let's give it the name test. And then we'll say URL, using regular expressions again, caret, and then I'm going to say thanks, and let's connect that to views dot the thanks page as a view, and we'll give that the name thanks. Okay, save that. So now our URL patterns are done. Let's move on to the next step, which is to migrate all the changes we did to accounts. So I will say Python manage.py make migrations accounts, hit enter and let that run. Great, so it created the model user. And now I'm going to say python manage.py migrate, hit enter, and we should see it should have applied those migrations. Let's check and see if this actually worked. We may have to do some debugging. We will say python manage.py and then run our server. Hit enter. Okay, so we got no bugs there, so we may have to do a little debugging, but right now looking good. I'm going to hop over to the browser. And here I am at the browser. Let's refresh and see what we get. Okay, so it says template syntax error, invalid block, line 17 static. Did you forget to register or load this tag? I probably did, so let's make sure it's actually registered. And we can see right here, it's happening at base.html, error at line 17. So let's fix that. So I will go back to my base.html file. So let me come back here. And here in my base.html file, I can see I'm using static. But in order to actually use that static call, you need to load static files. So scroll all the way back up here. And right underneath this doc type, I'm going to call load as a template tag and then say static files. Save that. And now let's try this again. We'll come back to the browser. And let's refresh. And it says, welcome to Star Social. Okay, looking pretty good right now. We can see we have a basic navigation bar. We have Star Social, groups, login, and sign up. So right now, groups shouldn't really do anything, but login and sign up should. Let's practice signing up. We'll click sign up. And you can see here, it actually looks really nicely formatted. Here you can see there's extra stuff about the password and then required 150 characters or fewer. That's what Bootstrap 3 library is doing for us. It's making this really nice display. So let's sign up. I'm going to say my display name is test user. My email address is going to be test@gmail.com. Password is going to be test password. And then we will confirm our password with test password. Let's click sign up. Okay, so it signed up and redirected us to the login page as we expected. And it kind of auto-filled for me because I'm using Chrome right now, which is kind of memorizing the username and password. So let's make sure this is working. I'm going to click login. And it says, please correct username. So whoops, wrong username. It should be test user. And then let me make sure my password is also correct. Test password. Okay, now I'm going to log in. And then boom, it says now you're logged in. Perfect. And I can see here the actual navigation bar has changed. Now I have post and create group. I also have log out. So let's test with log out, make sure that's working. And it says thanks for visiting. Come back soon. Fantastic. Looks like everything is working for us. So what we're going to do is in the next lecture, we'll continue on by moving to posts and groups. And we kind of have to work with those simultaneously. So we're not going to be able to work on a single application like we just did here. But since they're so connected, it should be relatively straightforward as far as working with them in sync. Okay, I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you at the next lecture. Thanks, everyone.